Hello, everybody, and welcome to another one of our code jams or bug jam, I guess, in this case. My name is Tiffany Hall. I'm an alumni of TripleTen Software Engineering Program, a full stack engineer, and a product owner at Scholastic Inc., the world's largest publisher of children's books and a powerhouse in the digital education space, too. Tonight, I'm very excited that one of the fun things I get to do in the evenings is to be the host of all of the TripleTen bug jams and code jams and puddings and all of the fun competitions. Thank you so much for joining both on the YouTubes and to all of our students who are joining us live. One of the favorite parts about all of our competitions is the opportunity it gives our students to really come together from all over the country to practice working remotely and really flex the skills they've been learning. So please join me in this journey as we go. Now, if you're not familiar with code jam or, well, again, a bug jam, a bug hunt, ooh, uh, let me just give you some information on what that is. So a bug jam is a friendly competition. And by friendly, I put it in air quotes, mostly just because we're all remote. And so, there's no shanking allowed. But friendly competition between our students during their normal coursework, and they are super short. We're talking like 4-5 days tops. And so all of our students get together and then they jam out a bunch of either code, or in this case, they jam out all the bugs. They get all the bugs figured out from one of our past applications. So this bug jam consists of two parts. We have the quality assurance part, the QA part from our QA students, and then we have the presentation, which you get to see. Now, last week, the quality assurance students were divided into teams and they were challenged to collaboratively check the app that was created by our April software engineer code jam participants. So to give you a quick rundown of what that was, last month, our software engineering students were challenged to create and develop some sort of inspiring website or application to help people manage stress and improve their mental well-being. And I personally am here for it because it is May and I have school-aged children. So now that we have had our software engineer students create this wonderful app, we've asked our QA students to go through and do the quality checking of that app. So the application that the students will be checking tonight is called Stress Diffuse from our April software engineering team, the Diffusers. So if you haven't checked that out after this stream, you can go back and you can see the April bug or code jam and you can see their presentation. Now, back to our QA bug hunting aficionados. Our teams tonight only had 5 days to make their projects, find all the kinks and get it all worked up for us, okay? So tonight, the teams are going to show their results off to you watching at home. And then next week, our judges will review them. The judges will be evaluating both the QA part and the presentation. So they will also have an opportunity to get audience award votes. That's from you watching either live, you can leave it down below in the live chat, or if you're watching this on repeat later, you can go ahead and leave it in the comment section. But that's only if you're not a student of ours. If you are a student of ours, then you can go ahead and leave your vote in the poll that we will be putting up in our student Discord group. All right, it is time for my favorite part where we get to talk to our presenters and see what all of the nerdy little wonderfulness they have been working on. So our first team is a pre-recorded group, and so we have the Bug Busters, and that is going to be the team of Young Hui, Nailim Herrera, and Richa Kumar. Now we will all live as I try to share the screen with all of the audio. All righty, we got our screen. Yay, halfway there. Okay. Do.
Hello, fellow bug jammers and YouTube audience. We are the Bug Busters. We are who you can call for all of your bug busting and testing needs. Tonight, I am here with my teammates Young Hui and Richa Kumar, and this is our presentation. So for this bug jam, we tested the Stress Diffuse app, which is a digital platform dedicated to helping users manage and alleviate their stress through interactive and personalized tools. The way that we organized ourselves for this project is that we created an individual Discord chat where we could communicate with each other. Through this Discord chat, we were able to create a project plan to help us keep track of our tasks and deadlines. We also made sure to allocate and divide the work evenly between the three of us according to our scheduling needs. Most of the work was completed asynchronously, but we did make sure to check in with each other consistently, sharing any concerns with anything that we came across, checking each other's work, and coming together to create this presentation. For our methodologies, we did focus primarily on functional and non-functional testing, but of course we did execute some tests for accessibility, performance, and compatibility, especially across the 4 major browsers, which are Google Chrome, Firefox, Edge, and Apple Safari. We did use a multitude of tools to execute our tests, including Google Sheets, DevTools, Jira, Lighthouse, Google Slides, Zoom, and a little bit of time traveling. The way that we split up our testing was, of course, according to our personal scheduling needs and availabilities. I was in charge of testing the Cozy Clock feature. Young and Richa were tag teaming on the daily challenges and the Calm Corner, and Young was also in charge of testing for the credits, performance, and accessibility tests. And now over to Richa, who is going to look a little deeper into the bugs we found.
Thanks, Neelin. So now coming to our test cases. So there were like 267 total of the test cases we tested today. And out of which 104 were compatibility based, which was the biggest number. 9 were accessibility, 16 were performance based, 75 were functional, and 63 were non-functional. The cases we tested, as we know, there were like 267 test cases we make, out of which 100% was tested. 68.91%, which is 184, were passed, and 83 test cases were failed. About our bug priority, so there were 24 highest priority bugs we found and 5 high priority. Again, 26 medium priority and 25 and 3 with the lowest and low priority bugs. About the types of bug we busted, so 28 were the compatibility-based bugs, 3 were accessibility, 8 were performance, and 13 were non-functional bugs we found. 31 is the biggest number for the functional kinds of bugs. Over to Young.
Thank you, Richa. We find 3 of the bugs quite interesting in our testing. One is the reset behavior in the system. It won't work. According to the requirement, it's supposed to reset itself each day at 00 Eastern Standard Time. However, with our time traveling abilities, we have noticed that the reset behavior that won't do it each day, but they will do it every 2 to 3 days at 00 Eastern Standard Time. Another major bug that we find is that the badges won't appear at the "Here are your badges" sections. Even though the users have completed all the challenges they can do, 3 a day for 10 to 20 of them with our time traveling abilities, all the badges won't show up. Another major bug that we find is on the field validation requirements, where in the build your routine and reminder sessions, users has the ability to input certain routines or reminders for the system to remind them or to record them. However, when the user input any invalid data into the input field, the field validation's behavior will not kick in. They will accept the invalid data with no error message populated. So Based on the requirements document, several key features and functionalities of the web application are non-functional, resulting in critical usability issues. Two major functions fail to meet the defined application requirements. As a team, we believe this version of the application requires further development before it can be considered as complete. Some of the challenges that we have, one of the major challenges that we have is like scheduling and availability. Since during our bud jam, we are crossing over the Mother's Day and graduation weekend. So we need to balance jiggle one between Mother's Day, graduation, and our personal life. Furthermore, our team members are in different time zones, one in the West, one in the East, and one in the Central. So most of our communications is completely reliant on written communication on Discord. So it's a challenge. So sometimes we're not there to read each other's message at that time. Another challenge that we have is the requirements documents were not clear. There are so many gray areas that we need to take our time to figure out what needs to be tested and what is not to be tested. Furthermore, on top of that, we don't have the Figma file, so some of the UI layout are unclear. What really went well is we have a clear and consistent communication with each other. We offer helps to each other, and we meet the deadlines. We finish all the almost 300 test cases within time. So we're good. And thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you.
you. All right, that was wonderful. You guys are so darn cute. Okay, so let's talk about nerdy goodness. So we have Nylene here. Hello, dear. One of the things that I wanted to talk first about was your time traveling abilities. Let's discuss what that really means.
So, our time traveling abilities was essentially playing around with the computer and browser settings when it came to the date and the time. So Young and Richa were in charge of testing the daily challenges, which it had a major functionality, which is that it would reset every single day at midnight Eastern time, which basically meant that they had to try going through I don't know how many days within the 5 days that we had for testing. It was also that the challenges had to reset with the buttons as well, and the badges, of course, depending on how many challenges you would do, but you could only do 3 per day. So that's where he said that he had to push the time travel abilities even more to get to, where the badges are supposed to show for 10, 15, 20, 30 challenges completed. So Young and Richa did have to do their fair share of time traveling and living their Back to the Future fantasies to complete these tests.
I love it. And I think you guys did a great job really identifying so many of the bugs. You guys had over 250 test cases. That's a lot for you guys to have to go through in 5 days, especially like you said, with the Mother's Day and the graduations and all of those pieces. You know, are you feeling happy with the result? Do you feel like, I mean, of course, everyone always wishes they had more time, but like, are you feeling happy with the result that you guys were able to come up with? I mean, it's wildly impressive.
When I looked at our analysis and realized that we made almost 300 test cases and that we were able to test 100% of them, I couldn't help but feel really proud of that. Not to mention that despite the fact that we didn't have so much time to work on it, I still felt that all of our work was still very thorough. We didn't leave any stone unchecked. So with the quantity and the quality, I know that, my teammates can't be here, but we were all very proud of ourselves for being able to complete this feat.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think you guys did an amazing job, and I'm sure that the judges will have a wonderful time looking through all of your test cases, and trying to validate the time travel ability on their own too. That's a really fascinating new trick I'm gonna put in my bag too. All right, that is the Bug Busters team. That is Young Hui, Nylene Herrera, and Richa Kumar. Thank you so much. Okay, next team, Triple A Bug Busters. with Adam Kubikovic, Adam Adam Kubikovic, Andrew Brem, and Alexandra Riley.
All right, share my screen here. All right, so we, as with every other group, we tested the stress diffuse application. And we are Adam, Alexandra, and Andrew. And just a little bit about ourselves. I have a background in audio engineering, and my role on this project was to write test cases, execute the test cases in the desktop environment, and write bug reports in Jira. Alexandra,
My name is Alexandra Riley, currently on Sprint 7 in the program. I do have a pretty heavy background in customer service. I also have a strong affinity for improving user experiences. I did learn a lot about that in my background and kind of put in that to work here in the TripleTen program. My roles on this project did include writing test cases as well as testing all of our test cases in the mobile environment.
Yes, good evening. My name is Andrew Brem. I'm currently on the Sprint 9 section of the QA program. I have a background in customer service and recording information on Excel spreadsheets. My roles included in this project included writing test cases for the set your reminders section of this application, and writing test cases for the sleep quality rating section as well.
All right, yeah, and so stress diffuse is a web-based application dedicated to helping users manage and alleviate their stress through interactive and personalized tools. So the website should be a very accessible and user-friendly application, since its main purpose is to help users alleviate stress. So test cases, for this presentation, I'm going to focus on test cases that deal with accessibility and user-friendliness, being that is very important for the purpose of the application. So some of the methodologies we used were UX, UI testing, smoke testing, functional testing, and unit testing. And we used Google Sheets to collaboratively write test cases and test data. And we used Jira for bug tracking. And most of the technical bugs, like input data validation, for example, didn't necessarily negatively impact user experience. So I'm not going to cover them in this presentation for sake of time. Just focus on like user experience and things like that. So some of the major bugs we found that do affect user experience were the header name, the badges section, the daily challenges section, the wind down timer, and the daily routine. Take a look at each of those here. So the application is named Stress Diffuse, both in the web address and in the requirements. And as you can see, the name of the website and the header differ. So I feel like we've kind of felt like that would just maybe throw the user off a bit. So we felt like that was important to address. Now the badge function does not perform as it should. So the user is supposed to be able to click challenge complete and earn badges at certain milestones at 1, 3, 5, 10, and then multiples of 10. And as you can see, no badges are earned there. So, we felt like that would confuse the end user. And so that was a very important bug to address. I don't have a screen capture of this one, but the daily challenges, they are meant to reset once a day based on testing, and it does not necessarily reset at midnight. As a team, we had difficulty finding the exact time at which the daily challenge is reset. Based on our tracking of the app, we were seeing sometime around 4 or 5 p.m. EST that it reset. It actually, we found also on mobile, it seemed to reset around 4, which was strange. And so we need to dig into this more, but we were thinking maybe the app is connected to GMT or something like that. The next one I wanted to address was the wind down timer. So it has a green ring around it, and it looks, when we first saw this, it looks like it should be moving with the timer. But as you can see, it's not moving with the timer. So it feels like that would just affect the comfortability of the app. And then the pop-up dialog boxes that appear for the user while utilizing the build your routine section, they don't close if you just hit cancel. We found that you have to enter text to get this particular box to close. And, it's kind of an annoyance, you could say. So that maybe doesn't help relieve stress. So this is just a little breakdown visually of our test case results. We came up with 106 total cases. 35 of those failed, 71 passed. So it was about 2/3 passing, 1/3 failing. And then on the right, you can see a bar graph that broke down each section of the requirements with the total number of test cases and passes and fails for each of those sections. And just some other notable findings that we wanted to mention was the sleep quality rating section. We didn't feel like it provided really any useful stress relieving functionality to the user. It accepts data, so you can rate your sleep quality, but it wasn't apparent, and we couldn't find any way that the application seemed to use that data. And then upon the completion of a challenge, currently there's a pop-up dialog that states that you have been awarded a certain amount of points. But with the functionality being bugged with the badges and there not being really anything that indicates what those points are for, that is definitely something that would need to be looked at. And then we noticed that with the start timer, with the green ring around it, if the timer is running and you click start, it seemed to pause for 1 second. And so you can click start over and over, and it essentially pauses the time until you quit clicking start timer. So yeah, in conclusion, we felt that the Stress Diffuse application has a lot to offer to its users to help with the reduction and management of stress. Our goal with this report was to highlight any issues that would arise from the end user's perspective that would result in a lack of stress reduction while using various features implemented. And yeah, like I said, overall, the app has great qualities and it's a creative way to handle stress management. But for the purpose of stress relief, we feel that there still remains some things that would need to be worked out for sure. And then some challenges we ran into with completing this project. We definitely beat our heads against the wall with trying to figure out the daily challenge reset. And then, we're working with time constraints with the holiday weekend, all that, and then just trying to navigate different work schedules. But some key takeaways for us were the importance of planning as a group, planning out the tests and writing test cases together. Collaboration, talking about the testing and talking about our findings with each other, as well as remote communication. A lot of times we're in the same time zone, so we could chat over like a video call or just a call, but sometimes we had to rely on just texting. And so it was just, it was a good learning experience to do all that remotely. So that is all. Thank you.
All right, that's great. I really appreciated the graph that you guys had. So, for those of you watching at home, the app is essentially broken up into different sections, right? So, it makes it a lot easier for our QA students to navigate because when it's one page with lots of features, it can be challenging to try to reference them all. And so, it's a common practice. So, that graph that you guys had, where it had the different features as they were marked, was really wonderful because I think that shows that a lot of like on that graph, the 3 and 4, which are pretty standard things like performance, accessibility, things like that, the app does really well at. But what it didn't do super well at was where the functionality of the user is going to be most obvious. And so I think that is a really powerful metric to show to developers, like, you guys did great in these other areas, but this one is a key metric. Let's talk about, so you guys definitely brought up that you are all in different places. We have one that's graduated, one that's in Sprint 7. How did you, as a team, navigate being in different places and having kind of different skill sets?
I think, go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, so what we did when we first started this is that we met up as a group and we discussed about what our work schedules are like and where we live or all of us live. So then once we discussed that, that we were able to come up with a plan to get all this done. So that's definitely way we were able to work collaboratively together was definitely getting together right before we started this and just knowing what everyone's schedule's like before we got right to work on this.
I love it. Alexandra, what were you going to add?
I was really just going to add that at one point when we were kind of breaking down, who does what, a big part of that was kind of, not necessarily just who wants to do each section,
Mm.
but a lot of it did play into our individual strengths as QA engineers. So with Adam, having completed the program already, we kind of had him do like a really deep dive overview of everything that myself and Andrew kind of went through. Just because he has a little bit more experience in the program than we have with having, completed the program in full. Andrew is nearing, the end of the program. He had participated in a bug jam previously. So we kind of, myself and Adam went to him a lot for, as an experience in the bug jam, what kind of input do you have on that? And then, I'm of course behind the furthest in the program. But being that I was the closest to Sprint 4, which was really heavy on those test cases that were similar to like what we wrote in this project, I focused pretty heavily on making sure that, there was nothing that we missed in terms of like null testing or anything like that when it came to the different fields where you could type things in. And then I, went through and of course tried to break things that nobody would do, like hitting the start timer over and over and over and over again. No one's going to do that. But me, having just completed Sprint 4 a little while ago, well, how can I break this? So that was, we played a
Somebody
lot to
will,
our
yes.
strengths. Yeah, we played a lot to our strengths as much as we could during this project. And I think it came together in like a really just kind of intelligent and beautiful way that really just showcased who and what we are as QA testers.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. Especially we especially like using that what you consider as a weakness to be a strength. In my first engineering job, we used to have somebody who wasn't even on the QA team, and we would always be like, great, we have this feature, please try to use it. And she just had the luck about her that she was the type of person that would push that button over and over and over again, and we were like, why would you do that? And she was like, it just wasn't working. I guess I thought if I pushed it more, and like she just would always break it. And so she was the best resource that we had for those kind of edge cases. So I think it's great that you guys were able to use that as well. Andrew, how is it being back again in the jam?
It's pretty good. I was excited to be a part of this bug jam. I wanted to be a part of the last bug jam, but things got in the way, so I couldn't be part of it. So
Well, you're all
I'm
graduated
glad.
now.
Almost, yes.
Yeah,
Almost. I'm almost there. Just got one more section to go
one
with
more.
Sprint Knot, and then I should be on my way to finishing.
So what did you feel like it was perhaps maybe not easier, but different in the second time around than the first time?
Uh, I would say it was a little. I would say it was a little bit easier than the last time,
Hmm.
because I just had more experience to doing this. Like I knew I at least had a pretty good idea of what to do when it came to bug jams like this, since I already participated in one before. So I definitely would say I had a better run this time around than I did the last time around. And also this time around too, uh I didn't have some of the obstacles I dealt with from the last one included a team member dropping out and having a
Yeah.
new team member come in. You know, that was definitely a big obstacle the last time I did this. And then, of course, I was inexperienced and didn't quite understand what I was dealing with or what was coming. So definitely say those obstacles were challenges I faced the first time around.
Yes. And speaking of that wonderful teammate, Kara is watching, and she has already said, nice job to the Bug Busters and to your team as well. If I know Kara, she is going to vote for every team. So, takes one to know the stress, right, of what you guys
Hmm.
are going through.
Right.
Well, I think you guys did a really great job. Thank you guys so very much for presenting. That is, again, the AAA Bug Busters with Adam Kukovic, Andrew Brem, and Alexandra Riley.
Thank
All
you.
right. Our last presentation for the evening is going to be recorded, but then afterwards we will chat with the teammates. So let me introduce the Code Crackers, which is Aisha Habib, Antonio Nebres, and then Manjula Reddy. Okay, here we go again. Sharing of the screens.
Stress is a normal part of our lives, and it is not always bad. In the right amount, it can actually motivate us to get things done. But stress becomes harmful if it is overwhelming for long term. In our fast-paced digital world, stress can be triggered by even a smallest tech hiccup. And when that stress is caused by poorly tested apps, it's our job as QA engineers to fix it. Behind every tested feature and bug report is a team that made it happen. Meet the QA minds behind this project, the Code Crackers. Hello, everyone. My name is Aisha Habib, and today my role in this project was to kick things off with this presentation and contribute by creating test cases to help ensure that the app functions as expected. Because if an app designed to reduce stress is full of bugs, it might end up doing the opposite. Joining me is Manjula Reddy, who handled the core testing and bug hunting. Antonio Nebrez, who performed non-functional testing of the app. Now that you have met our team, let's talk about the app that we have been testing, Stress Diffuse app. It's a digital platform designed to help users manage and reduce stress through interactive and personalized mental wellness tools. What makes this app stands out is that it's built with accessibility, responsiveness, and optimal performance for every user. Now let's take a look at how we ensured its quality. Our testing approach followed a clear structure, focusing on both functional and non-functional testing, aspects to make sure that the app not only works well, but also performs reliable under real-world conditions. We used a variety of tools in our testing approach. For cross-browser platform testing, we used Mozilla Firefox, Chrome, and Safari. Jira helped us to make the bug reports. Google Drive was our go-to space for collaboration and documentation, ensuring everyone is on the same page. We also relied on browser dev tools to inspect elements, debug issues, and ensuring that the app works across multiple devices. From the beginning, we established a clear channel for communication using Discord. It allowed us to quickly discuss bugs, share testing, and provide feedback in real time. For this Test Diffuse app, we were able to make 105 test cases, out of which 67 of them passed, but 38 of them were failed. To go into further details for failed test cases, I hand over the presentation to Manjula. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Today, I'll be walking you through the key bugs identified during testing of the Stress Diffuse app. Let's take a look at the distribution of reported bugs by severity, as shown on the pie chart. 26% of the bugs are categorized as high priority. These directly affect core functionalities like daily challenges and badge display and need an immediate fix to maintain the app's core functionality. A majority, 71%, are medium priority. While these don't block key workflows, they still impact the user experience through issues like validation, browser inconsistency, or incomplete tracking. The remaining 3% are low priority bugs. These are minor issues, mostly visual or edge cases that don't affect the app's main functionality and can be resolved in future updates. Now, let's take a look at two high priority functional bugs affecting the daily challenges feature. First, the daily challenges are not refreshing as expected. According to the app requirements, users should see 3 new random challenges every day. However, we have observed that the same set of challenges are displayed repeatedly, which disrupts the intended dynamic experience. Second, the challenge buttons are not resetting at 00 EST. They're supposed to return to the initial state with the text "click to complete," allowing users to start fresh each day. Instead, the button retains their previous state, which prevents users from completing daily challenges properly. Now, let's move on to the badge display issues. According to the app's requirements, badges should be awarded when user completes specific milestones. However, we observed that the badges are not appearing even after users complete the required number of challenges. This applies to both early and advanced milestones. As badge functionality plays a key role in the app's gamification, user motivation, and progress tracking, fixing this issue is critical to delivering satisfying user experience. Now, let's move on to the medium priority bugs. The reminder feed allows more than 3 reminders, which needs to be fixed to ensure the reminder limit is properly applied, and it doesn't validate the inputs properly, and there is no enforcement of boundary values as expected. Lastly, let's discuss the sleep quality rating issue. There are 2 main issues here. When a user submits a sleep quality rating, the expected confirmation message is missing. If the input doesn't meet the requirements, the error message shown is incorrect. It doesn't clearly explain what the issue is, making it harder for users to correct their input. Now I'll hand it over to Antonio, who will walk us through performance testing.
Hi, hello, I'm Antonio. I tested the app for non-functional requirements: performance, accessibility, and compatibility. I started with a lighthouse audit using Chrome DevTools, a tool that evaluates the key aspects like performance, accessibility, SEO, and best practices. Most scores were strong, but the best practices score was lower due to a deprecated API, which might stop working and cause issues later. We also saw 34 third-party cookies, which could raise privacy concerns and slightly affect performance. Accessibility was solid overall. Images had helpful alt text, headings were well structured, and keyboard navigation worked smoothly. The video played without issues. However, zooming to 200% slightly broke the layout, and both the video label and page title could be more descriptive to improve usability further. For compatibility, we tested on different screen sizes, browsers, and mobile devices. It looked good on large screens, but smaller screens, rather, had layout issues, such as video overflow. Across browsers, Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Safari, the app worked consistently. On mobile devices, the features were usable, but background images sometimes overflowed and margins were uneven, making the layout feel a bit off. For this assignment, we focus on core features like the video player, the timer, and reminder. Along the way, we identified bugs that improve functionality and enhance the interface to make the app more responsive and user-friendly. These past few days, we learned a lot about QA collaboration in a fast-paced setting. Even though we were in different time zones with busy schedules, we stayed in touch, shared clear feedback, and kept the communication flowing. I want to finish this presentation with these words. Quality is never an accident. It is always the result of intelligent effort. On behalf of the Code Crackers team, thank you so much for the Bug Jam panel and everyone watching on YouTube.
Thank you.
All right, that was fantastic. I really enjoyed the video in slideshow thing. That was really cool. First, I want to say, Aisha, I feel like your hijab is on point. I feel like we could be twins right now. It's definitely my favorite color. So just had to get that out of the way. Now back to other important things. Let's talk about your work. How did you guys feel like the timeline was, given that you have had all of these lessons, right? But now you have to go in and start from scratch, whereas in the sprints, you guys have a bit more direction. Did you feel like you were feeling the pressure? Was it enough time? I never can quite tell.
I mean, I was a little bit anxious to start with, but we had Aisha who already had experience with the Bug Jam.
Yeah.
So that sort of guided us in a way. So we knew, so from the get-go, we asked her beforehand what was to expect. So we knew we we're going to have a requirement, we're going to know we're going to construct the test case and so forth. So yeah, that's how we started. So we saw the requirements and then we took it from there and then we divided it accordingly. And then we kept communication, of course, via mostly via the Discord chat that we opened.
Aisha, how was it the second time around?
Yes. So as compared to the March one, this app had so many things and it was so much lengthy. Each one we had to go for each thing. We have to go 15 tests and then again 15 tests and then again.
Oh.
So yes, so I was going back and forth. Yes, she just said 2.1, 2.2.3. That's it. Don't do anything else because otherwise we will go out of the track and it would be impossible, to do
Sure.
all of those test cases. And then there was a requirement for going on for 9999. I'm like, I cannot go for that only for 5 days. So
yeah,
that's
the
how it
team
was.
for the Code Jam, they really went above and beyond in terms of functionality. So
Yes.
that's why we were so excited because we thought, well, that's gonna be a great one for our quality students. There's so many
Yes.
options.
Yes, this app, I think it should have given us the time for 1 month at least. Only the business days, but at least a month to complete it, each and every aspect of it.
Very well, to get to take that feedback into consideration, I'm sure. So in terms of the preparedness, I know the three of you are all in different spots, but did you feel like the work was connecting to what you were learning in the program? Because as a teacher, that's the number one thing that's important to me.
I mean, for me, I did not know much about the non-functional testing, so I learned a lot
Great.
In these past few days. So, learning about more stuff in DevTools, learning about Lighthouse, and also knowing about the importance of like for things like the keyboard keys and naming correctly like the images and then the videos for like people with disabilities. So for me, it was like actually I learned a lot in that sense.
Great. All right. And then otherwise, what advice would you guys give? Because we're going to have another one of these next month. And what advice would you give to the future QA students who are going to be watching this? Because, you know, we do this brief where I go back and watch one of them and see what's going on. What advice would you guys have?
What I did this time that helped me, I knew that these will be the fields expected actual test steps. So I made my sheet before the briefing. I knew that, okay, for presentation, I'll be doing this. So I knew my slides would be this. I had to make the conclusion. So I had those headings were ready. Just,
Okay.
so when it's going to be the time, I will be just copy pasting because I knew it had been done before and I knew it's going to happen the same way. It's just the app is going to be the different, the wordings is going to be the different, the test is going to be the different. And this time, because I already did the performance and accessibility last time, so I was more into it. Okay, give it to the other person. He or she, they're gonna learn more, and I already knew it. So I was like, okay, this for the first time when we were like talking, I just told him, just go over to my past ones. You will see all of it. Just go ahead.
Yeah,
They have the steps and they have everything. So just go over there, and it was gonna be so easy for you. So I feel like, yes, it was the Mother's Day weekend. We couldn't work on that. And as Young said, that it was the graduation week too. So it was very, going back and forth, teacher appreciation week, everything is going on. But yes, it was like doing some things beforehand was easy for me to go over and then not stressing about at the last moment, okay, I have to send this, I have to send this. I just did it.
Right. That's great advice. Antonio, did you want to add something? It sounded like you wanted to jump in.
Oh, no, it's just, I mean, if advice for future bug jammers, probably just if you went through the sprints correctly, you're gonna do fine. So that's why I learned, because I was really, as I told you, I was a bit anxious at the beginning, but then I mean, so what you seen it before, so it's not gonna be something like that terrible.
All right. So don't panic and try to get your headings done in advance, and maybe go back and watch a presentation or two to see what is generally presented. All right. That is the Code Crackers team with Aisha Habib, Antonia Nibres, and Manjura Reddy. And that is all of our Bug Jam presentations for this evening. So from all of us here at TripleTen and our May QA Bug Jam, thank you so much for watching at home. Thank you so much for watching back on replay if you're checking us out later. I very much appreciate, again, the software engineers for allowing us to use their project. They obviously, much like all of our jams, have a very short time frame to get all the things done. So it is with a lot of great courage that they share their project for us to use tonight. And thank you to all of you for having such wonderful insights to bring in all of your data pieces around what is going to be helpful to the user, especially on a site that is going to be calming. All right, so I see that in the YouTube chat, we've already got another vote for the code crackers from Assad. So that's always nice. If you have not voted yet in our YouTube channel, please go ahead and vote for your favorite team now. And then if you are a student of ours, you can vote in the Discord channel. We will have that poll up after this stream. All of our results will be posted on our Discord and our socials on May 21st. And I want to thank everybody who works behind the scenes to get this all kind of going and rolling. And they are Irina, Kevin, Elena, Natasha, Anastasia, and Dennis, and of course, my cat Sharkbait. Thank you to all of you again for presenting your work. My name is Tiffany Hall. You can find me at Tiffany Codes on Instagram, and you could probably find my cat judging your life choices. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great night. Bye, y'all.